That's right, guys. Welcome back to another video. The floodgates are open. Kickstarter is rampant with scammers right now, mostly in the wake of success of dreamworlds. Undoubtedly, this has given a lot of scammers a lot of confidence that they can push anything and get some quick money. And we will see that today. But first of all, I want to quickly talk to you about audio. You've hopefully noticed that my audio is sounding a hell of a lot better than it did in the last 3 videos, and that's because I took some advice from every other YouTuber on planet Earth and stapled foam panels to the wall that I am facing. And oh my god, who'd have guessed? It works. It's brilliant. Happy Cal? Good audio? Chef kiss. Today we're going to jump right in and look at the Rule of 3 hardcore survival game. Now, this project caught my eye for a few reasons. Let's take a look. As you can see, it's currently at £1,818 of its 14,500 goal, with 12 backers, and I have purposely left it until 49 hours to go because I was scared that this was going to get funded if I made a video on it. Don't ask me why, I just don't want to be responsible for something like this getting funded. I haven't shown you what this is yet, so let's jump in. So, live, loot, fight, die, repeat. Okay. Art style looks quite cool. Made in the Unreal Engine. Smile. Let's have a look then. Story, the Rule of 3. Discord. We'll come back to the Discord. A refreshing take on the zombie apocalypse. I'm sure it's not. Rule of 3 is a survival RPG shooter that will take you to a massive world in a time of great upheaval. This sounds very medieval, which is a bit strange. Upheaval and strife, as an unstoppable plague tears the world apart. This literally sounds like Wrath of the Lich King's like pre-script that they pitched to Blizzard. Travel through the cities, countryside, towns of Green Valley across the massive world as you battle hordes of the undead and avoid becoming infected with the plague yourself, while also dealing their sentence writing and like spacing in here. It's not the best, but we will put that down to them not being English, possibly, or natively English. So dealing with other players online, faction NPCs, want to kill you, take your hard-earned loot. This doesn't sound like a refreshing take on the zombie survival to me. Just putting it out there. So then we arrive at the first screenshot. Okay, what have we got here? We have got a crafting and inventory window that looks quite nicely laid out. I'll give them that. Prototype inventory with characters, stats, and attributes. Okay, my scroll wheel's doing something today, so let's just use the manual. Our world is a 16k, I imagine that means 16-kilometer island, with a variety of point of interests, from little farm towns to huge city blocks. We will unlock 4 of the city tiles during the first alpha phase, with more to be unlocked later, during different test phases. Currently, our map will support up to 100 players per server. Now, I want to point out that this is a kind of technical limitation on Unreal Engine's multiplayer, and this is why Fortnite is capped at 100. So this already tells me that this is going to be using Unreal Engine's default multiplayer, which there is nothing wrong with. I just want to point that out. There's nothing wrong with that. Since we are going to self-publish the game and are asking for the help of the community, we are also willing to give something back and develop the game with the community. Again, more screenshots of the same art style. This is, consistently using the same art style, which is, that's a good start, but I'll get to why it's using the same art style, because, believe it or not, this is a scam. Many ways to customize buildings. Okay, that's 2 of them. Lovely. 6 to 8 months will release an early build of the game where you'll be able to test the core mechanics of the game. Basic mechanics will consist of new features, development, objectives, new weapons, co-op, features. Features isn't a feature. I just want to point that out. You can't list features as a feature. But anyway, some okay looking gravestones for backers. Backers get gravestones. That's, cool. Deadly zombies. Now, these do not match the art style above at all. These are very cel shaded, whereas the others are just very poly shaded, I would like to call it. I might be talking nonsense, but that is what I refer to it as. When the game is in beta stage, we will release the full game beta as early access on Steam, or any other platform where it's going to be possible, for all backers down from the test tier. Okay, pretty standard. Our backers can influence the development, help improve the game, just the standard stuff. You guys are helping fund the game, you should be able to give direction on it. That makes perfect sense. Got some low poly weapons, guns, a list of some systems here, which I'm not even going to go through. We'll come back to that. Risks and challenges. They actually have quite substantial risks and challenges. Rule of 3 is an ambitious third-person shooter with complex layered mechanisms and components. There are definitely complications to creating a balanced, visceral online MMO FPS focus system, and there are many risks involved in the game's development. We have tried to minimize those risks by selecting proven technology and assembling a strong team with proven experience and ambitions. You haven't assembled a team. I just want to point that out. I have looked at their history of games following their Facebook. Their entire Facebook is pictures of tutorials that they've followed on the Unreal Engine's official YouTube channel, and then posting, hey, we made this. Now, yes, you did, but you used the assets that were given to you by Unreal. So it's, again, a bit disingenuous because you're showing an office off that you've made that looks like a really nice architectural visualization, product. But you made it by following a step-by-step tutorial. And that's kind of sucky. I mean, I get that you're learning, and that's okay. But I want to point out that the things that were made for this project, or screenshots that were made for this project, were actually in the works a few years ago and were shelved by this team. And you might be wondering, well, why did it re-emerge all of a sudden? And we will get back to that, I promise. There's a lot of things I need to set the scene here. Basically, they're going through explaining that budget and stuff might be the issue, and they've made effort at least to put the risks and challenges here. But there are some bigger risks and challenges. Let's go to the beginning. All right, we'll take a quick look. So, these characters, keep an eye on these stat screens, characters. What else do we have? The crafting menu up here. Are you ready? Because if I go down to one of these screenshots, in the corner there, it says ESRPG. Now, in other things, they crop that out and put RO3 for Rule of 3. So they actually covered up a watermark because they couldn't get rid of it. So put their own watermark over it. So what is EZRPG 2.0? It's their entire game, to put it very simply. It is an entire easy survival RPG. Sorry, ESRPG was for easy survival RPG. Now, I want to just premise something here. I am not bashing on people for using assets. I understand that seems to be the focus of my content. I'm going to address that, I promise, in this video. This is not about the use of assets. I believe assets are an important thing in developing a game. They allow quick prototyping, quick visualization of what your end goal is, and they are totally okay to use. I use them. But their entire game that they're showing, once again, is actually this. In most cases, they are just straight up using the screenshots from the page itself. The same menus, the lot. There is actually nothing custom in that Kickstarter. We will go on to the next one. Those zombies you saw earlier, these. And these are actually free. So, once again, they've cropped out the watermark. So, questionable about whether they've actually put this in their game. Now, it's free, so I assume they actually own it. But again, the effort put into this to avoid making it look scammy, it's minimal. It's really minimal. And then we go on to the next one, the backer rewards, which the gravestones. $3.50. And again, I just want to say this again. They've straight up just used the image off the product page. So, again, probably don't own it. And even if they do, they've not done anything custom. It's just everything in this is assets. It's a real issue when that's all that they're providing. There's nothing tangible here. It's not great. It's really not. So, as I said, this was a shelved product on their Facebook page. So, if we go and take a look at their Facebook page, okay, so here we are, guys. We are on their Facebook page, and this is one that they've publicly linked. I'm not sure why. 16th of March, they post about their Kickstarter. Now, if we go back and look through, they're working on some map tools, it seems, but this does just seem to be using the world editor, which is fine. It's an incredibly easy to use thing. Then we're seeing loads of assets that have been purchased. Their menu screen. And this is back in 2020. So this was shelved. Like, this just stopped development. Because it wasn't really being developed. It was them playing around with assets. Which again is okay. Again, more assets, and then we go back further down, and then it's previous screenshots of random assets in random worlds. These are all other projects. It seems like they were trying to make some sort of survival skill-based, not skill-based, fatigue-based system and ammo, and then they just thought, screw it, we can just buy assets instead. The infamous bright neon pink default avatar. Just brilliant. And then another project that was shelved 5 years prior. So these guys don't have game development history. None that's none that's credible. Which is kind of an issue. So let's get off Facebook, because honestly, there's really not a lot on here. Just them following tutorials and posting screenshots and whatnot. So that's not important. So I guess that all that's left for us to do is join the Discord, which I have already done. So I'm going to drag that over here and show you what exactly the deal is. So I joined yesterday, a whole 24 hours ago. And I said, hey Drastic, just found this Kickstarter and I have a few questions. Aside from the following asset packs, Easy Survival RPG 2.0, City Zombies, and Gravestones Pack 2 Low Poly 3D model, has there been any custom work done on Rule of 3? If so, where can I find footage of this game, as I can only find screenshots so far, mostly taken off the asset pack listings? Now, this guy has been online pretty much all through the day. For the last 24 hours, he has been online. Now, he's not responded to this because he probably doesn't care, because he knows the project's not going to get funded. Like, he knows it's a dead project. And he has definitely seen Dreamworld. And let's jump back and give some context to that. So let's go to campaign. This Discord button is actually the one that was used on Dreamworld's Kickstarter. They did, in fact, steal Dreamworld's Kickstarter button for the Discord. Now, this just goes to show that this project spawned right after funding ended for Dreamworld. And they clearly just realised, damn, that pile of garbage just raised 70k. Why don't we just take our pile of garbage that we shelved and offer it up? Like, it looks better than Dreamworld. It'll definitely get funded. Now, what these guys are missing with this is the charismatic grifters to promote it. And really, that's the only thing that's stopped this getting funded. Because let's go back to the very top. This is terrifying for a game that has had no advertising, nothing anywhere. This is straight up just from people finding this and stumbling upon it. Now, this led me down a whole nother rabbit hole. I'm going to open up the Discord again and we will see if... Okay, they are not online, but this person... let me move it so that my camera's not blocking it. This person, Ayadin, the name was familiar to me. And I asked if anybody else in the Dreamworld Discord recognized this name. And then people were like, yeah, they are in the Dreamworld Discord. And then I realized why I recognized that name. This person has backed Dreamworld for 2K. This was one of the Dream Arcs, you'll see it on screen now, that paid $2,000 to Dreamworld and have lost that $2,000. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's fine, they're just in the Discord. There is one comment on this, and this is from that person. How do we follow and support you after the Kickstarter ends? It appears several awesome games aren't getting funded right now. Super frustrating. And I don't want to bash on this person. This person is clearly going to be hurt twice. Well, I mean, it's not going to get funded, but, you know, I feel we're at the point now where we're essentially saving people from themselves. Like, what more can we do? Like, this person has just lost $2,000. She just goes round vigorously backing projects that are destined to fail from day one. Now, she's a super backer, so she's backed a lot of projects. But I did see, I'm trying to think where I saw this. She backed at $800, I believe. She is a top tier backer. There is only so much we can save people from themselves. She has rode the wave of Kickstarter. Sorry, she's rode the wave of Dreamworld. And she went silent after it got called out for being a scam. She clearly has realised it was a scam. And she's just snowballed straight into another one and not done any research. And I want to put this out here as a little bit of information for everybody. Research does not have to be digging into LinkedIn profiles, researching the history of the people involved in it. I understand that is time consuming and not easy to do if you don't have the means to do it. What I suggest that people do is take images. Take every image on the Kickstarter's page and just reverse search it. That is a very easy and surefire way to see if they've just 1, stolen images, 2, using free assets, 3, using stolen assets. You can very quickly debunk a game off that alone, and then use those asset packs to further investigate. Okay, well, what is custom? What have they done? It's a scary time right now because the floodgates truly are open, and this is going to be the first of many, many scams to follow. In the last 3 weeks, I have been sent 8 or 9 scams alone that are straight up asset flips, and I am going to say this, 3 of which have been fully funded for over $10,000. And after investigating those, they're not that interesting to dive into, so I won't make a video on them, but they've been funded. People need to stop feeding in to the scammers. And they need to start doing, use a bit of that. Do something sensible. This brings me back to my next point. Not every project using assets is bad. In fact, far from it. If you can show that you've done something extra beyond assets, I will give your game a chance. I will give you a chance. But when you show an entire, what is essentially a game that you've purchased off the asset store, already made, and you plop it into the engine and you go, this is my game. It's not. It's a single asset that is pre-coded for you. And you've not even changed the models out or anything because you don't know how to. None of your models are custom or changed or even slightly modified. You've straight up used the system at hand that was given to you. And you're now shoehorned into using that system. So there isn't much custom you can do without knowledge. And I can guarantee the game that if this was to ever come out, the game you would get would just be the asset pack. And it's limited to 100 players because the only multiplayer that this game works with out of the box is Unreal's own multiplayer. And by the looks of it, and looking around on their Discord, they've not even got the multiplayer working again. I believe that this is only going to get worse for scams on Kickstarter because you've got two catalysts that have just really ignited a reaction here. You have free game engines at a AAA studio level that are now so easy to use and so accessible, anybody can swap out assets in a game and make it look like a totally new game within hours of opening the editor. Then you have easy to access and widely available source crowdfunding. You put those together and this is what you end up with. A possible... Now, I know these guys had this idea months ago, well, years ago, and then shelved it, and then have re-brought it up as soon as, Dreamworld showed profitability. But this could have once again been thrown together in an evening. Because all that's custom is the terrain that it's built on, which again is literally just left click, right click, raise lower. And they've used some sort of auto landscape material, which does all the texturing for you. Hence why it's not the same art style. Because the landscape auto material doesn't come in the same art style. It's scary to think that with somebody who's got enough knowledge to throw something like this together, combined with the team that marketed Dreamworld, that could be an absolute legendary scam. Like, I understand people falling for this more than Dreamworld. Dreamworld was an obvious scam from an asset point of view, from a visual point of view. This, not so much to the average eye. But if you take this and the Dreamworld marketing, you end up with something like Chronicles of Illyria, where the wool can well and truly be pulled over the eyes of the masses. Anyway, guys, I don't want to ramble too much about this because it's more about the precedent that's set more than the game. These scams are going to be coming in waves, and unfortunately, they are going to be harder and harder to distinguish from scams, harder than it was for Dreamworld. But I will do my best to inform you guys whenever that is the case. We are nearly at 2k subscribers. By the time this video goes out, it's probably going to be 2k. We were nearing 1k when I put the last video out, and during the time it took to render and upload, we spiked by 650 subscribers and blitzed past that 1k to 1.55k. That's absurd. The growth of this channel is exponential at this point, and I'm going to do my best to keep you guys entertained week in, week out. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell, and leave a comment for the YouTube algorithm. You guys have been great at doing that. And jump in the Discord. Come say hi to me. Hang out with all of us. We're all hanging out in there, discussing the Dreamworld saga, watching it evolve, and that's where you'll get new information first, because I'm more active in Discord than I am on the comment section. And as always, guys, have a fantastic night, a fantastic week, and I will see you in the next one. Adios.